Streak in my hair, but no stress now. Trying out the guys looking like a mess now. Driving off the tracks, but I'm back and I've seen hell, but this is a bit more my style. I'm alive on this vibe, I survived. You surprised, gonna cry about it? You should see the other guy. I'm returned and I've waited my turn. A decade of time to make everything mine. It's heavy bad guy, I'll be the bad guy again, just like last time. And we all know how that ends. No one came to help, so I help myself instead. You think I care? It was always me and secret, and I got my second chance. I'm coming through these on life, it's not just circumstance. No one is falling in time, so who cares? So what? I'm not coming down, screw that. Keep up, there's something to screw me. I'm better now than I'm free, cause I've seen the other side and now I'm back where I wanna be. It was 13 and a half years I spent on that platform in hell, but I come back out ready. White streak in my hair, but no stress now. Trying out the guys looking like a mess now. Driving off the tracks, but I'm back and I've seen hell, but this is a bit more my style. I'm alive on this vibe, I survived. You surprised, gonna cry about it? You should see the other guy. I'm returned and I've waited my turn. A decade of time to make everything mine. This is my sunrise, this is my dawn. This is what I've waited for all along. All of this time, all this is mine.
I'm sorry.
Shut up and listen, cause I'm back and I found my will to live. I'll say I'm sorry, but you don't have to forgive. Cause regardless, I'm moving on regardless to the next big thing. A throne will always await a king. But now the train's left the station, the ticket price and my patience. A decade stuck in location of misery and damnation. And now I see the causation of all this pain and frustration. It's everything that I've taken. Oh yes, I blew up with no stress now. Trying out the guys looking like a mess now. Driving off the tracks, but I'm back and I've seen hell, but this is a bit more my style. I'm alive, I'm revived, I survived. You surprised? Gonna cry about it? You should see the other guy.
I'm waiting for the church bells to end, so give it a hot minute.
Time to make everything mine. White streak in my hair, and I'm not going back there. And if there's one thing that I'll swear, I'll be back for a while, kids, so go ahead and smile.
I was about to say, I think we're good. The fuck we aren't. Okay. Hi. Welcome. You can tell by the title. Yeah. That's fun. You can tell by the title that Cyber gave me an idea to rewatch all this and re-get my fixation on it. And also for the fact that I forgot I have multiple assignments due tonight. More importantly being I have a quiz and a paper due that I have bullshitted my entire night. So yeah, welcome to this. I will barely be reading chat, but this is more importantly for Cyber, so enjoy that. Wonderful wonderfulness. Religion, please shut up. Alright. I don't have a care to update this. So I have this done. I can print something out tomorrow. I can do the essay at night. Does that go until fucking... There we are!
Oh, bully! And here I thought I was going to be the last guest to arrive.
Colonel.
My friends call me the Colonel. You're welcome to do the same, should it please you. But, after you.
Ah, bonjour. Welcome to Markiplier Manor. Your invitation, please.
Also,
Very
it says
good,
your
very
name,
good.
we
Right
are a
this
district
way.
attorney, which is very
Good
interesting.
luck
I
at
hit
the
my
table
mouse back.
tonight.
There
I
it
shall
is.
fetch you a drink forthwith.
Oh, there you are, old friend. How are you settling into your new office? Now, I know it'll take some getting used to, but there's no one I would rather have alongside me to protect this great
I'm
city.
going to be a
of
mess.
ours.
Same
And I'll see
bestie.
you
I
at
don't
the
remember
table
most
soon,
of this.
but
I remember
try not to
some.
rob me blind again. We'll catch up.
If you're looking for hors d'oeuvres, I'll get them when I'm good and ready.
Okay.
And stay out of my kitchen!
Now, let's not be rude to our guest. So sorry about that. Here's your champagne. Enjoy
Fun fact,
your
I don't
evening.
like the taste of champagne.
Welcome, welcome, one and all. My name is Markiplier. Thank you for joining me on this auspicious evening. So good.
It's the one motherfucker I want to hit.
Now, this evening, it's not all about the poker.
Where the fuck
Not
is
all
this
about
outside?
me. It's about you.
There it is.
So drink up and be merry. Life is for the living.
I
Who knows?
checked my email,
Dead
and it's
tomorrow.
just... This was graded, this was graded, this was graded. God, we're a fucking lightweight. It's 1:30 a.m. Also, we never see the mayor during this.
Ah, good morning. Hope you've had a good night's rest. I've prepared for you a seltzer with cocaine.
What?
Best thing for the morning after, if you ask me.
Excuse me? There he is.
Ah, there's our little monster. You really knocked him dead last night. I haven't seen you go wild like that since our days at university. Good to let the beast out every once in a while, eh, old friend? Then again,
If you can't tell,
I'm
they've
still
known
not
each other
exactly
for
sure
fucking
as to
ever.
what we're supposed to be celebrating here. I mean, it's good to have the gang back together, but out of the blue like this seems.
Suspicious.
Anyway, now's not the time to become conspiratorial.
Okay,
Life
thank
is ours
God. I don't have to go to
choose,
my
as I
one of my
always say.
classes tomorrow.
I have some
which
work to finish,
which
but
is
I'll
very
meet you at
nice, but I have to
breakfast. We'll all
just
catch up
stop
soon.
by and pick up my paper because I'm writing a 12-page paper about how Twitch treats its creators, which is already 7 pages, and I haven't touched it this week because I've been busy with other things. Where the fuck's the thing I'm trying? No, that's the makeup studio. Oh, fuck, he did.
Oh my God! There's been a murder!
Excuse me, did you hear lights? Oh my god, murder!
Also, I remember.
What the hell happened here? Who's in charge around here?
Did you hear lights? Oh
Yeah, when this first came out, everyone thought, because it's more prominent when Mark as Damien walks through here, that the characters would get like slightly like gray in the face, but no, that's just a lighting thing, and everyone thought he was like turning into dark.
What the hell happened here? Who's in charge around here? Trick question. That guy. And he's dead now, which makes me in charge, so you better listen up good, bucko. In case you haven't been paying attention, there's been a bit of a killing. And you're my prime suspect, so you better get to explaining right quick as to the what, where, when, and why you happen to be here upon this man's death.
sir, the body's cold. He's been dead a while.
A likely story that I happen to believe completely. All right, you're off the hook for now, but I'm a detective.
Oh, yeah? Prove you're a real dick.
Here's my badge, asshole. Those are my old partners. Don't ask me about them.
Oh my
Fine,
god,
I'll
why
tell
the
you.
fuck do we have a
Each
reading
one of them
assignment?
died. Each death more tragic than the last. A few of them even died in ironically hilarious ways, which made it all the more tragic. But hey, you look like you're up to the task. You're my new partner.
I did
That's
not
what
sign
all
up to
my
be this, and
partners
seeing
used to
how
say.
I worked on the space, on the craft,
All right, hand me that fingerprinting kit behind you, partner.
the what? I almost put air.
Thanks, partner.
Alright, I did one thing out of the way. I almost put air as my name for this assignment.
What the hell happened here?
Oh, Mr. Mayor, I'm so sorry. There's been a murder.
Murder.
Listen, I might
I'm afraid he's
like
telling the
lean
truth.
towards girls
Mark's been
in my spectrum of
killed.
sexuality, but he's hot.
Who would do this?
That's exactly what me and my new partner here are here to find out.
Excuse me, I feel like we should call the authorities for them to handle this matter.
Look, buddy, as far as you're concerned, I am the authorities. The fact of the matter is, I believe the
Pictures
killer
of
is
his
right
old
here
partner.
amongst us in this very house. With that freaky lightning storm outside, none of us would get very far anyway.
I
So,
just hit
in the
my
meantime,
earphone, which hit my ear,
we're
which I
stuck
have
here.
a ear, or like one of my
I'm gonna get
earrings,
the body
or one of my
first.
holes in my ears
The
infected
rest of
from
you,
earrings.
get back to your rooms, hunker down, and pray to God you're not next to be murdered.
I'll check on our
I
other-
should be taking notes about
I
this,
get back to cooking. All this death made me hungry.
but I still have not erased the other pages, and I still think it's so funny. I have an entire page that Silly just recommended to.
All right, partner. It's time to get to work.
How the
Judging
fuck
by
did
the
she-
temperature of the body that I measured rectally, which is obviously the most accurate way to get the inner body temperature of a corpse, that's a fact, totally procedure. Don't tell me when I did it. I am sure Mark was killed around 1:30 a.m. last night.
That's when we fell asleep.
So what were you doing at 1:30 a.m. last night?
It doesn't fit in, but it's so.
I'm gonna ignore the strange fact that you sleep with your eyes open. But it checks out.
It-
So, we need to figure out where everyone was and what they were doing around that time. Or at the very least, who saw Mark last. You need to get out there. See if you can piece together this story.
Alright, now I need to do a fucking quiz.
I'll stick around with the body to run more tests.
How can you be so quick? Oh, don't give me that horse shit. I know you hated him, but god damn it, he reached out to you. Oh,
Also, am I gonna cheat on this quiz? Yes, the fuck I am. Madam. Thank you.
Your head out of your ass. Damien, I don't know.
Hi.
Ah, good to see you again.
Please
You're
name
quite
and
the
identify the
rapscallion
heels.
at last night's festivities. But you're probably here to help the detective with his investigation of murder. Anyway,
Oh, you
I'll
could have
help
just say
you.
name.
I'll tell you what happened to
the fucking
our dear
colors.
friend Mark. Oh, look at me! My name is Markiplier now. Forget all my friends or the people that helped me along the way. Just look at my money.
12.
Oh, I need to pay people to be my friends. Ha ha ha! You like me? Too bad. Oh, glug glug. Oopsie poopsie. I can't hold my booze. Gotta go off to the little boy's room. Who wants to join me?
There's a
I'm
reason
gonna
he hates
go
him.
there up on my stairs. My house has more than one staircase. Oh, look at me and how great I am.
There's a
Oh,
reason he hates
no,
him.
I'm falling. Oh, I'm dead. And that's what happened. Probably, anyway. So if you need to corroborate this story with anybody else, just be on your way and investigate the entire house. Go now. I'll
What
be
the
here
fuck?
when you're done.
Excuse? What the fuck is this quiz?
Come with me. I need to show you something.
If it was on like a
Now,
regular.
if you're looking for answers,
There was
really
a cut
no
there.
mystery at all. There's not a single detail of this house that I'm not privy to, and not a single guest that I have not personally vetted.
Among Us.
Now I warn you, what you are about to see is not for the faint of heart. A domain of evil, but in we must go. You first.
Excuse me? It's literally just a broken bottle.
Open your eyes! I'm so sorry you had to see this. Master would be so displeased. If only he were still alive.
I thought I told you to stay out of my kitchen.
You did.
You're helping that dick with his little investigation.
I was more like forced into helping.
I might look like a sweet and innocent man, but some people with short lifespans might think otherwise. I can't imagine why. Can you? Last night, after I got rid of all of the evidence of that delicious meal I prepared, and wiped down all the fingerprints
What?
from those filthy dishes,
Oh.
and sopped up all that blood,
What?
I retired to my room at 1 a.m. and left my little buddy in charge, like I always do. He sees everything.
I'm pretty sure that's a
Why
camera.
don't you ask him what happened last night?
Yep. Oh my god, the fucking FNAF sounds. That says kill. Yeah, it says kill right next to security. You can't see my mouse because I turned it off because I would sometimes be in other tabs. But yeah, that says kill right next to security. You can't see it well. But enjoy that. Security mode. It's still there, it's just more hidden. Oh?
Hey, Mark, good to see ya.
It's the fucking FNAF 2 sound when you got the cutscenes that you're hearing in the background. It's the part where, like, the marionette is right in front of you when you try to move. This is also at 1:17. This was made in 2017. I feel fucking old. And Butler's gone. Or the cook is gone. This fucking scene hurts my soul.
I'm sorry you saw that argument with the Colonel. I lost my temper.
Fuck,
It
you
wasn't
know
right.
exactly what happened.
He must be in shock. The Colonel's an eccentric. It's his best quality and his worst. But he's my friend. And so is Mark. I know I'm supposed to be a leader in this scenario, but I can't help but feel lost. I've known Mark for years, since we were kids. And he's just gone?
So it's Hugh.
I don't have any answers right now. I just need to be alone to process all of this.
Value and
We'll talk soon, but I need to think.
I just accidentally opened Discord.
Get over here. Now, hurry up.
What?
You're not gonna believe this. I can barely believe this. The body, it's gone. It's just fucking disappeared. Look.
What? Who drew a dick? I will actually go on that website after this. If it's still active.
Who did this? Certainly wasn't me. No. Somebody, not me. Must have moved it between the time I was the last person alone with the body in the room and then stepped
So
out for a few
primary
minutes to take
is
care
red.
of some personal business that you don't need to know about.
Yellow, blue.
Could have been anybody.
Blue and
Except me.
they are the colors.
What the hell happened here?
The body's been moved.
Colors
On
that
its own?
can
No, of
be
course not.
created.
Unless it did. In which case, we've got
Created
way bigger
using
problems
other
than a simple
colors.
murder.
What the hell happened here?
The body's moved.
On its own?
We haven't quite ruled that out just yet,
Using
but let's
other
not forget,
colors.
we've got a murderer.
Fuck.
Holy, quite a storm out
They're
there,
pure
eh, chaps?
colors.
What are you doing huddled in here in fear?
We have a zombie problem.
Secondary colors are orange,
Croesus, the most dangerous.
orange, green,
Well,
purple.
someone needs to put the old lad down.
Colors.
Well up with the
Colors that are
What do you mean
created.
by a gift? And what do you mean by privilege?
Well, I'm just saying, I've got plenty of experience on the matter.
So do I.
Yeah, that just raises more questions.
Well, I'm off to the grounds to see if I can catch a whiff of the old bag of bones, eh?
Again,
Weren't you and Mark the same age?
yeah, the Colonel has every right to be pissed off, and it will be explained.
All right, lock this place down. Secure the front gate. I don't want anyone in or out of this place until we get to the bottom of this.
Locks won't keep people from getting out, sir.
Locks running the shift, Will.
Look, you're a real smart son of a bitch. Handsome, too. Beautiful. But we don't have time for this. I think we
Okay,
forgot the most
mixing two
important question of all during our
primary
arousing
colors.
game of whodunit. Why? Why? Come, walk with me.
Red,
Why did he
orange.
invite us all here? Why tonight? He said we were celebrating something, but he never specified what. It's almost as if this whole shindig of a hootenanny was just
Yellow,
a ruse.
green.
Mark was my friend, had been for years. But then he went quiet. I knew something was wrong, I just
Green, blue,
never figured out what. Now I guess I never will.
blue, purple, and then purple, red.
I'm on level with you. You're my new partner. I've been working with him for years.
Cool.
Now,
And
I've been
then
doing this for
colors.
a long time, and I know something is wrong. There is a murderer.
Colors that are created.
You're amongst us. We need to
mixing.
find him. Now, you look like a trustworthy somebody. I know we just met, but I am an excellent judge of
Colors
character.
that are created mixing.
Excellent
second.
like a fox. I smiled and fed
Wayward.
him a line of bullshit.
There you
The
go.
truth was,
Secondary
I
colors.
couldn't trust them any more than the other scuds around here.
Yeah, this is
Like
not
my late
time,
partner
so I
once
can
said
literally
right
sit
before he
here and
died,
actually
best to
respond.
keep your enemies close. Wink, wink. You don't look like you have a reason to kill them. And if you do, best to keep your enemies close, eh? Wink, wink. So, the real question we should be asking is, who stood to gain the most from Mark's death? Now, in my thorough analysis
Himself.
of the corpse's anal cavity, I discovered that in addition to being stabbed 37 times, he was also poisoned, beaten, strangled, drowned, and shot in that order.
If you are wondering how that is possible, it is because of all the other bodies that have been hopped. Yeah. I'm going to explain that more in a little bit, but keep that in mind that this did all happen to this body. The reason they're saying this is because, as I stated in yesterday's stream, he can hop bodies. So when he hopped into that body, he was already dying. Well, you will literally look up an explanation
Yes,
video later.
That's a lot of trouble to go through to knock off one guy. And it sure as shit is no accident. No, my friend, there's gonna be no simple candlestick in the library solution to this whole puzzle. So,
Is that a reference to the Clue game that Ethan won on first try?
we're gonna have to do the detectively thing. Go through the victim's most private and personal possessions. Well, after you.
Is this where the pictures are? Holy shit. There's a baby crib.
Oh, looks rough. But I don't think he was killed here. Take a look around, see if you find anything. But be careful. I've lost 3 partners before to bedroom booby traps. Make sure you don't tamper with any evidence.
Yeah, here's the...
Let me know if you find anything.
Yeah, hold up. I'm gonna go back to this. Because this I can actually explain. Taking my mic closer. This is the timeline of their friendship. And yes, that's exactly what I mean by that. So it's Damien, Mark, and William all being friends. Then this is where Mark met Celine and they got married. But in this one, it's only Damien and Mark because Celine ran off with William. That is the very short summary of this. It's basically a timeline of their friendship.
Let me know if you find anything.
And then I'm assuming this one is
Find a
just...
clue?
Yup.
It's just William. Which I think might be foreshadowing, but it also could be the fact that, like, Mark is doing his own thing, Celine left, and then Damien is being the mayor with the district attorney. I don't know that for sure, but this is just what I remember. I could be very fucking wrong. There is an 11-hour video that Mark put out explaining this that I do not have the time to watch, but that is on my list to watch next month when I go back home.
Quite on the case, aren't you? Say, detective.
Also, yes, he can
May I
teleport.
borrow your friend here?
Yeah, sure. Don't worry, partner. I'll handle it from here.
Bully. Take a walk with me. I thought that it was about time that we got to know each other. Someplace far, far away from the prying eyes of anyone else. Come with me. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but you and the mayor know each other, right?
Yes.
He's a good man, that one. We've been fast friends for as long as I can remember.
As such.
Now, there came a time when I could have said the same thing about Mark, but... well, best not to speak ill of the dead. Oh, the pool hasn't aged a day. Geronimo! Have you seen the Colonel?
No.
I thought I heard him. I need to speak with them. I may have been a little short at our last encounter.
Alright.
Well, if you do see him, let me know.
Oh, life needs a bit of madness, eh, chap? Now, what were we talking about?
Yeah.
Oh, yes, the grisly business inside. Well, I'm sure I'm not the first to say that our host had a great deal of enemies as of late. My prying eye might suspect that the people who worked for him might have reason to stab him in the back. God knows he's a tough son of a bitch to work for. Oh, the old golf course. I'll fetch my clubs.
Colonel? Damn, I thought I heard him. No matter. Would you accompany me? There's something that I would very much like to discuss with you. Now, I know you've been assisting our intrepid detective with his investigation, but I have to bring some concerns of mine to the forefront.
Bestie, I've been
If
doing.
you look at this situation logically,
the-
we can only assume that the killer who struck down our dear friend Mark was with us last night. And while I would stake my life on the innocence of the Colonel or yourself, can we really say the same of our beloved detective? Or worse yet, mayhaps our counting skills aren't as good as we assume them to be. And mayhaps, in the shadows of this manor, unseen to any of us, lay hidden.
It's just saying the same shit. I'm annoyed. What?
I don't know what you're playing at, but you better lower your weapon, you murderer!
I bloody well won't. You're the one that assaulted me. For all I know, you could be the murderer.
What the f— Last chance!
What
Drop
the
your
fuck
weapon!
is happening?
Surprise, boss.
Everyone, please. I know we're all on edge, but can't we resolve this amicably?
No.
On edge! This psycho tried to shoot me!
That's a bold-faced lie.
I was merely doing some light target practice.
Inside?
Well, yes, I couldn't go on the grounds now with that
Don't you
bloody
get
shit
black
in my
by
way,
making
could I?
like mixing all the colors
You should have
together?
remembered that, Private. Besides, you're not my boss anymore.
It's Colonel.
Enough of this horse shit! You knew I was on to you, and you were trying to whack me off before I could finger you!
What?
As the murderer! Not called the murderer in my own home!
There she is. There she is. There's the seer.
What are you doing?
Who the hell are you?
What are you doing here?
Celine, how the hell do you know her?
I'm afraid you've come at a very inopportune time.
That's his ex-wife.
I can see that, and I'm glad I got here before it got any worse.
This is only a tip of the iceberg. And it's a big iceberg. How can I put this delicately? Mark's fucking dead!
What?
Dead like my hopes and
No, they weren't married.
And he's a flesh-eating zombie, too.
Homonecrosis.
Exactly. Hence the gun. That is not hence the gun!
Stop waving those bloody guns around!
Hold on. Tell me what happened. How did Mark die?
It was murder. And worse yet, the body is missing.
What?
Ah, yes.
Show me. And don't say that word.
What word? Murder?
Yes, that word.
Well, I mean, murder is a rather accurate description of what
Do you not see the lightning?
I love
Saying
her.
it was lightning that murdered Mark?
Well, Mother Nature doesn't exactly strike me as having murderous intent.
Unless you're a woman.
By the time I was sucked into the ballgame Jumanji and I was...
Stop! Look, whatever's happening here is tapping into forces far beyond our control.
Why do you keep looking at me? Still has a fucking gun pointed.
Murdoch? Malarkey.
Marco.
Enough! Look, Mark's death is a terrible thing indeed, but I fear that there are forces much darker than
Didn't you
anything
leave
we've
him?
seen here
I'm
today.
sorry, I have
I'm
to.
well versed in the arcane arts, but if you, untrained and uninitiated, can summon lightning with a mere word, we're all in far graver danger than anything we could ever hope to face alone. We're gonna have to work together if we're gonna survive this.
Celine, what are you proposing?
We need to speak with Mark.
I knew it! He's a flesh-eating zombie!
No.
Well, maybe one of those smart zombies. Homo sapio zombifus.
No,
What?
no.
I need to commune with the dead.
That doesn't sound like a good
Wait,
idea.
she wearing a...
No, I need.
Oh, I was like, is she wearing a ring on her ring finger? No, she just has them both on her
That
middle finger.
doesn't sound
I'm wearing
like
the
a
same
good
color
idea.
scheme rings
Well,
as
it's a
she
good
is.
thing I don't need your permission. But
I-
you've been awfully quiet through this whole thing.
Bestie!
With those beady little eyes.
And wearing those rags.
Maybe I shouldn't have trusted someone so goddamn gorgeous.
I'll pass.
But I feel like I can trust you. I sense that you have a far greater part to play in all of this.
Like taking my fucking body?
Come with me.
All right, that's enough.
Again,
I'm
I
not
do-
just gonna sit
I
around
do-
and let you drag my partner off to their very likely death.
Bitch,
I
you
won't
just
stand
did.
for it.
Well, I trust Celine with all my heart. I see no reason why anyone should doubt her.
Well, I have to agree with our intrepid detective here.
Knock on fucking wood so I don't get angry.
I never liked this uptight asshole who walks around with a stick up his ass. But I think he's right. Something's weird.
If it makes you feel any better, you guys can stand watch outside the door, but my work cannot be interrupted.
Oh, believe you me, I'll be keeping a close eye on every single one of you. Even myself. Especially myself.
Celine, wait. Wait.
Yes, Damien?
Are you all right? I know this news can't be settling well with you.
I'm fine for now.
But all this talk of the occult, and Mark is dead. Wait. I just didn't think the time would come.
There's more to this world that you could ever hope to imagine. I just had my eyes open to a small...
Ah! I'm gonna fucking kill someone.
Just be careful. You too.
I just looked up what the fuck one of the words meant, and it's subtractive color. That's the color they use for when you're printing or your online shit.
Yeah, my bad. Thank you. Please, have a seat. Now, I'm sure this must be unsettling for you, being thrust into this series of unfortunate events. But I promise, with your help, I'm going to get to the bottom of this. Now, I'm not sure who would want to kill Mark, but something tells me this seemingly significant event is actually a footnote in a much larger mystery unfolding in our midst. I've never been very comfortable in this house, but something tells me, now that my eyes are open, there are dark forces surrounding this manor.
Keep your enemies close.
I will not be called a murderer in my own home.
I always think this is a cool transition.
Far away from the prying eyes of anyone I can see. I can't. The body is gone. Fucking gone. I mean, it's good to have the gang back together. And
We have not seen this yet.
What happened? Why did you stop? Did you see something? Someone? Draw it.
It's better than
This doesn't answer anything. You need to go back. Go back!
She has tarot cards out.
What is this?
What cards
This
does she have
doesn't
out?
answer anything.
That's the sun.
You need to go back.
I don't
Go
have
back
that.
now.
If I had that,
The shit is this?
Get out. We are not done here.
Celine, I think this is quite enough.
It's enough when I say it's enough.
Come on, partner, let's go.
you can tell in this situation that Celine always has a bigger power dynamic than Damien, which is very interesting
Come
for
on,
an
hurry it
upcoming
up.
video.
What did she do to you? What is this?
Butler! Butler!
What? What is it?
This mean anything to you?
Well, maybe. No, sorry.
Spit it out if you got something.
Well,
So it's blue,
it
red,
could be our
green.
groundskeeper George, but he only works on weekdays.
Looks like your friend here may disagree with that notion.
Green, there is none.
Yeah,
I don't know shit. I plead the fifth, man.
Chef, if you know something, for God's sakes,
Mixing
spit it out!
secondary colors.
All right, you trust Lamar.
Colors together.
George has been living on the grounds for years.
What?
And you just now thought to share that information with us? For all we know, he could be the murderer!
The last time, stop saying that word.
Look, George just tends to the grounds, man. He's a fucking hermit.
I don't care what the fuck he is!
Look, all
That's
this
a tarot
arguing
card
is getting
reference.
us nowhere. Just go outside and talk to this George and be done with it.
Hold on a sec. You're not coming with us?
I need to stay here with Celine.
I don't need help, especially from you.
Our friend is dead! Sorry. I just need answers.
I'm like losing my fucking mind because it. Oh my god, I had it correct the first fucking time.
Fine, but I need to stay here.
Fine, good, yeah, whatever, who cares? All right, you're coming with me. Partner, you too. Hold on a sec. We're missing somebody. Who had eyes on the Colonel?
Well, he appeared tired and went back to his room.
I'm sure he did. And with any luck, he'll stay there. All right, let's roll out. Come on. Lead the way, Cookie.
Cookie, I'm not your cookie. I spent 3 weeks at culinary school. I earned the right to be called a chef.
I'm very impressed. Just tell us where we're going. Come on, let's go. I think I see him. Hey, buddy,
Green,
hands where I can see him.
blue, red.
Hey, my hands are where they're supposed to be, unless
Penny
of
crate,
course you
yellow
like to
light.
pick on
By
yourself.
magical bullshit
What are
fuckery.
you doing here?
I'm the groundskeeper. I keep the ground, all right? I'd say look around. The ground is pretty well kept in its place, right?
I'm sorry, man. This dick made me bring him out here.
You shut up. How do you not know about the murders at the house? How do you not hear that lightning?
Lightning is the sky's business. Look at the ground. When the ground starts shooting up lightning, I'll let you know.
All right then, smartass. Why exactly are you digging that hole? And why shouldn't we suspect you for taking part in the death of your employer?
Colors on-
Employers come and go. Some die, some don't, some are
colors
murdered,
on
some are
the
not. It's not my business.
Opposite.
I'm
I
digging
just
this
fucking
hole
spelled
for a burst
opposite.
water pipe, if that's all right with your gracefulness.
See, I told you.
Where's
George
the
didn't
microphone?
do nothing, man.
See? I just did nothing.
Forgive me for not taking you at face value. But we're all
Opposite
gonna
side
come
of the color
inside,
wheel.
we're gonna sit down and have a nice, lovely chat. And get to the bottom of this before I lose my mind and start dabbling in murder myself.
Warm
You
colors have a
listen to
warrant,
me,
having
son.
warrant.
It's been 15 years since I've been in that house. And I'm not
Have a
about
more
to break
warmer
that
tone
winning
colors to
streak
pigment
now.
like red, orange, yellow.
I don't
while
care
cool tones
how
have more of
many
a cooler
murders there
tone
have been.
pigment,
I ain't going
as
near
blue.
that house.
green, and purple.
However, there is one reason, one incident, one manifestation that will get me into that madhouse. You had better pray to God that reason never comes to pass.
That,
That is the reason!
the background music. There's background music. Ah shit, who's dead now?
Go, go!
Why me? There's the colonel. Oh, there's the two colors. Oh shit, Celine looks possessed.
Somebody help me!
Alright, so Celine has been possessed. The final chapter. Yeah, Celine and Damien are gone.
Where's Celine?
She's gone. And so is everyone else.
Wait a minute, where the hell do you think you're going?
Away from here! This place is cursed. If you had half a brain, you'd all do the same.
Don't walk away from me! Where's Celine? Where's Damien?
I've spent 25 years cooking for these up.
That is the first time Damien is mentioned by name, I think. He's been called mayor this entire time.
I'm not about to die for him. I quit, bitch!
I know things seem far beyond your control right now, but such that it is for all.
So I'm pretty sure at this point, Mark is now in Damien's body. And so Damien is in Celine's body. If that's how I remember correctly. I'm saying if I remember correctly because it's been what, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 20. It's been 5 fucking years since I've seen this video. I don't remember much.
All of us here. I shall take my leave, and I implore you to do the same.
I won't let my friends die in this godforsaken house. And if you all are too much of a coward to do the same, you had best leave before I kill you myself. Now you hold on a second, I got more. Get your hands off me! What's going on here?
I know he's in pain, and I know you might be too. But we need to leave this place. There's only death here now.
There's about to be another one. Hey. What? So this is Mark speaking, and where we are is how this is how the Colonel, like, teleports around all those points. So yeah. Yeah, this is Mark speaking. This is the Colonel. That's Damien. That's the detective. The chef. That's the butler. Yeah, that is how the Colonel turned around, or how he traveled around. Welcome to the office. Safari hunt gone wrong. I'm pretty sure this is don't trust the seer. Zombie, not a man. Call me not marriage material. Where's the flute? Why not both? Police remain clueless following celebrity death, following moving star. The fucking dabbing. Is he a secret? I'm pretty sure that's referring to Mark. The Colonel did it, the Colonel did it, the Colonel did it, the Colonel did it, the Colonel did it. There's more of the tape. Polaroids. Yeah, that's the picture from upstairs.
There you are. I've been meaning to ask you some question. What is this?
I don't know.
The detective's been keeping tabs on us.
I don't know.
The detective's been keeping tabs on
Yeah,
me.
Celine is a seer.
And Celine.
Yeah, don't.
He's the one
there
who
it is. Don't trust the seer spirit world.
I did all of this.
No, it's not.
He did this. Detective! Detective!
Oh, someone's about to get shot.
Where is he? He took them from me. He took my friends from me. He took Celine. He took Damien. Where is he? Where is he? Detective! Are you hiding him from me? You can't hide forever. Get out of my way.
I noticed that he's saying friends, but he's only referring to Damien because he doesn't consider Mark a friend at this point. And then Celine is more of a romantic interest, so it's very interesting seeing how he's saying friends.
Detective! You better choose
your next words carefully, Colonel.
My friends get to call me by that name. And you, sir, are no friend of mine.
Oh, you're one to talk about friends, you murderer!
I didn't kill anybody. This is madness.
Oh, you want to talk about madness? Madness is stealing your best friend's wife. Madness is squeezing him for cash to fund your own sick sexual exploits with that very woman.
What the fuck?
Madness is plotting the death of your childhood friend because you can't handle the...
Okay. I remember actually crying the first time I saw that scene. So. Remember how I said I think that every other person is reincarnation? This is why I think that.
It's not fair.
Fuck you. Yeah.
Took everything.
Yeah. Here's the two colors.
He trapped us in here with this broken shell and no way out.
It's true. This whole time I thought it was the house, but I never thought he'd follow us.
Yeah, so Mark is just a dark entity that body hops.
He'd been planning this for years, and now that son of a bitch is out there walking around in my
Damien,
body.
we can't do this right now. Look, I know you have questions, and I can't answer everything right now. Just know that Mark took everything from us for his twisted quest of vengeance. But death does not mean the same thing here.
What Celine means by that is, this doesn't have to be the end. You're trapped in here just the same as us, but your body, broken as it may be, it's still out there.
Mark's not the only one that can use this place to his benefit. The same way that I brought you here is the same way that I can send you back.
But you can't survive on your own. You're dead after all. But you can't survive on your own.
It says, the voice echoing says, I can't survive on my own. Which leads to the ultimate betrayal of them too.
Dead after all. My friend the Colonel saw to that.
You can't blame him. Honestly, he's a good man. But he's dangerous.
I know this all sounds crazy. Honestly, I don't know what the fuck is going on. But I know that I trust Celine.
No shit, she's your sister.
Trust us. Just let me in. We can fix this. Together.
Ooh, let me in.
I won't force this on you. You have a choice here.
No,
Just know that this is the only way that you can escape. Just relax.
the nod of,
This will work. I promise.
again, Damien is a good guy, but seeing how the colors are still together, which adds more point. Okay, so I actually know it now. I'm gonna wait until the mirror scene. Because this part hurts.
Oh no, no, it's okay.
He was there watching over us. He was there watching over us.
I mean, of course, you're not dead. You're not, how could you be dead? I wouldn't have killed you. I didn't kill you. I mean, of course.
Not the piano.
Of course.
There's his
I
cane.
didn't kill anybody. It was all a joke. Of course, it was all a joke. Were you in on this? Did Damien put you up to this? Of course he did.
Fuck.
Damien, where are you, you rat?
The background music fucking
Where
hurts.
are you? Celine? Oh, it's time to come out now. Ah, it was good, You're all happy.
Yeah, that's us. And then it's dark. So I always thought about this scene, and I'm not sure if Mark confirmed this, but this is the part where all three of us are in our body. But it's this moment where we are thrown out of the body and we are like locked in the mirror. So it is Because you see how it's primarily red? Dark is now in control of our body. Which there's like no regulation of Damien. Which hurts a fuck ton. Fuck. Yeah, Ethan did all of the
Colonel,
Oh yeah, the tech is alive.
you can hear this. You better run.
Yeah, here's all the bloopers.
That was really good.
Yes.
Shoe can.
Yep.
Butt can.
3, 2. Lot of ass. Possibly just
Did you see butt cam?
I did. I don't know if you noticed, there's a little pebble of wetness on Mark's butt.
Is my laundry done?
Between his
Sorry, I'd
cheeks.
put my laundry in and I don't know if my alarm went off. I'm gonna check to see if my alarm went off for my laundry. Because people at the school sometimes like to take your laundry out if you're not there within 10 minutes. Or they'll be like,
Is it in night vision mode? Whoa.
It's not. Infrared is off.
Don't look at me.
You're laying with another
I
man.
checked my laundry.
We were
Good
holding
job,
hands
Mark.
earlier.
Oh, that's so romantic.
It's very cold.
Oh, keeping you
We're just
warm.
cuddling.
Chew. Oh no, I'm not really dead. Uh-oh. My plan has been foiled. Here's a secret. I'm trying to ruin the colonel's life, who's actually worth that.
what am I talking?
And I'm gonna steal his body. Because he ran off with my wife. And it's all his fault and definitely not her choice. So, yeah, she must have gone crazy or something to leave me. So, but things don't go right, and then I do die, but I've died lots of times. I come back all the time. It's great. Beat death. Thing. So then, in the end, I take
My
over
clothes
the
weren't
mayor's
dry,
body,
but that's
so
as
I'm
expected
not
because I got the shittier dryer.
my body, my broken, bloody body. He wants to go back and he wants revenge. That's the crux of the story. Makes sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
Knock on
You
fucking
ready?
wood.
This is going to be. Oh man, that is close to my face.
Alright, ready?
Yeah.
Ooh, I have a wedgie a little bit, okay?
Shit. Well, fuck. You're off the hook. Can we go up from that, or is that impossible? Fuck, let's just do it again. Shit.
It's fine. You got it. You're a hero.
All right. Hand me that fingerprinting kit behind you, partner.
Maybe just a little bit of emotive from the camera movement. You know how because this is a person, so if he says something shocking, kind of like go back just a very little bit, just something to give it a little nuance.
Laying down and giving direction, Markiplier.
I'm a man of many talents.
Did you drool a little bit
I
before?
sure did.
Oh my gosh, it's Amy. Amy, what are you doing?
3 hues
You're
that
bored
are
nothing?
positioned next to each other in the color wheel.
Does that mean writing?
Yeah, Borton.
Oh, slates. Slates.
Chalk
Oh,
sucks.
wow,
You forgot
look
to
at
buy
this
new chocolate.
Superficial salad.
Yeah, we made a salad this morning. Look at this bad boy. All
Oh
the
my
shots.
gosh. That's so good. Done?
We're so prepped.
Is it done?
It's not done. Nothing is
Is
done.
it done?
Nothing is done.
Catherine having a sip. Catherine sitting in the You ruined my Catherine sitting shot. Okay, back to Catherine sitting. Yeah, Catherine sitting on a couch. Catherine, she's in charge of sound. Da-da-da-da-da. She can hear us all better than we can hear her. What the? What the? There's Catherine. Yeah.
Again, I'm literally treating it an at-home quiz because I don't want to fucking have to look through a binder full of shit that I have not fucking read.
It was all Ethan. The gimbal. Blame the gimbal. My cravat, where it was, my cravat seems to have fallen
Your
apart.
cravat is
Amy, I need cravat support.
Check.
It's all kind of fucking.
Yeah, it is big. Okay, but if it's just under. Oh, it's so. Oh, I touched the drool pool.
Is that okay? Right there?
Yeah, that was good.
Okay, cool. Alright, here we
Can
go.
have it. There you go.
Everyone's happy. Is this really a spotlight though? Taping up my crotch, is this the highlight that you guys are?
Yeah, it is.
Absolutely not, dude.
Put it on my resume.
I was just gonna take Markiplier.
Here we go. We're gonna get.
Intimate.
Yeah.
Hot.
Just.
Add like a third. One dick if you want.
I'm so glad we're all this close. Now. We weren't before.
We're about to get closer.
This is an observational sport. And Ethan's coming in on the right, making sure that he gets that hand just right, and Amy's already working towards the face, sending a focus on the nose, rounding out to the bringing the top of the head, working on that crown. Ethan is now rounding out the left hand. It's looking great, ladies and gentlemen. I think he may be a contender for first place on floor stamping.
Do I win an award for this?
Yeah.
Or am I like one of those nude models at an art class?
He has a stub hand.
You do.
I don't know myself.
Oh.
No one's satisfied with that, sir being like, oh, your student's cheating on the test. As I'm like thinking about this.
Oh. That looks great actually.
Fascinating.
Comprised of 3 colors, evenly spaced on the color wheel. Yada yada yada. Fuck. Fuck my life. I'm not even halfway done through this fucking.
Beautiful work.
What is that?
The 360 camera was in the bathroom.
Nudes. What? Someone was trying to get my nudes.
Ordering food.
Amy.
Okay, one of these. It's gonna be this fucking week.
Oddly enough, like I thought that took many more hours than it actually.
I'm gonna
did,
order
but,
McDonald's.
We're well on our way. We got technical problems out of the way, and we're gonna get our second scene done. Third, technically.
Yeah.
Rocks.
I mean, it's.
Ah, fuck, that made me crack my neck.
Oh damn. Oh damn. Oh my god.
I got calf.
That's crazy. She's got calf. Catherine.
Hardest thing, love that you waited to cover your mouth, but then as you sneezed, you just removed your arm. You were like, "Achoo!" Good job, partner. You mind if I throw it out?
Uh-huh.
So, if you're coming down, I'll actually be a little lower if you want.
I would do that if I was in this set.
That was great. That was
Ready? Wouldn't this just like take adding like other colors to it? Because that's basically what the fuck color theory is. Also, every day I hate color theory.
So it looks like a man is studying his lines. Let's see your badge.
What? It's just depending on where the fuck you put a color next to it, it will look a different color. That's what I'm putting it.
Perfect.
Depending on where you put next.
I need to see your credentials.
The color, any colors on the background will affect how it looks, either making it look appear darker or lighter.
Hard at work. Studying lines.
I'm ready to go.
Studying.
All my lines are up in here. I wrote the damn thing.
I wrote the damn thing as playing a fucking video game.
No.
Any words of wisdom you want to give to your audience?
We've got
now?
4 scenes done of 60, and we have 2 dicks.
Wait, we have 4 done?
We have. Oh my god. They have.
If Pam just held that.
I was about to be like, is that Pam because the rings on the hand? is color harmony? Is that just is that a dating site for colors? What?
What? This is a good.
Dead.
I didn't know when to go.
Every day I consider dropping out of this school because of fucking color theory.
No. Yeah. Like,
And
that
output
always weirded me out because I
device.
was like, how are they updating the actual hardware with, hi, how you doing? Yeah.
No, I'm in SAG. I'm sorry. No,
Oh.
no, you need permission.
Do I really?
Well, you can look at me actually, but first of all, ladies and gentlemen, do you know who I am?
No.
Then go away, take a drink, and calm down.
Oh, so
Thank you
sorry.
very much.
So sorry, sir.
Nighttime excursion adventure.
Okay.
Alright, here we go.
Just please be careful.
Yeah,
There are so many spiders out there. Like huge, like just face-eating spiders.
Oh yeah, this is for the this is for like a news network they did on the website where they would have like two
Oh, it actually works.
I gotta walk with my hands in
like
the
two
air.
ghost hunters that are at the
I hate it.
Okay, so word on the street is this place is haunted. By farts. Come here. At this gazebo, there used to be a bathroom. In this bathroom,
color notification
they say
system. Is that where you basically just put down
the
fucking
dump
notes of
happened.
color?
It was a stinky one. Marvel in its glory. Also, too,
That was three-dimensional
there's,
model.
like, you can see spiders. Can you see the spiders?
I found the actual fucking definition.
Okay. You should put shoes on.
I'll put my flippy floppies on. Oh, they're all the way upstairs.
I'll go with you.
Okay.
Let's go on an adventure. We're gonna go on an adventure.
Ethan, look in here.
Oh no. Towels.
You guys gotta come with us.
Where are you going?
We're going down to the path.
No. No, there's snakes down there.
Yeah. At nighttime?
They said there were snakes and they're mating. He was like, there's a black snake and a pink snake and they're mating. So be careful of the snakes.
Hey, it's Ren Snake.
All the way down. We're
And
just
they
going,
said
like,
We're gonna go to the Harry Potter place.
That's where they were.
what? No. Snakes have sex in the Harry Potter place?
Yeah. Apparently.
Makes sense.
It's just go to the wine cellar. It's safer. We could go to the wine cellar.
I feel like we're asking for something bad.
Can you
Me
see
too.
anything, Ethan, even remotely?
Yes, I can
If
see
there are
everything.
spirits in this
No. No.
Cam is me if I was there. I would be like fucking around with the ghost.
It's, you guys. It's right here.
Where the fuck is the text? Text box.
Come on, Ethan.
I'm so
No. Dude, I have a video camera.
Come here. Come here. Go down.
Dude, I am afraid.
Come on.
I can't.
Yes, you can.
I can't.
Ethan, join us.
No, I hate this so much.
Man, these could have made it easy for me to put a fucking
literally
thing in
hate this
here.
so much.
Oh, I stepped on something crunchy. Okay, I don't like it. I'm done so.
Add text box. Where are you going?
You don't like it.
What?
Wow, I hate that. Here,
Give me a good.
Pam,
Oh.
we're gonna do a bit, alright? Hello. It's me, Ethan. Going on a ghost adventure. On the housey house. Oh.
No, fuck it. I'm writing this in. I am too angry and too fucking vengeful.
Oh my god, I fucking hate it.
What?
Well, I think that was spooky.
My thing is make me wanna fucking
proper?
scream.
Wait,
I'm waiting.
wait,
Okay.
wait.
Waiting.
Draw.
It's not gonna do it. Oh, there it goes.
Give me this.
You see that?
Nope.
See it's flickering?
Nope.
It's gonna start blinking.
Okay.
It's real spooky.
It's spooky.
You saw it yesterday, though, right?
Yeah, well, it's not on camera, so.
Has that water damage always been there? I don't recognize that.
Maybe.
There's stuff to it.
It's red.
Jeez.
For what?
This room was spooky yesterday.
I've never found that room spooky though.
Damn it! The light was flickering like crazy.
Really?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Hey, Jennifer.
They're trapped in there. Get them out.
Hey, what are you? Hey, blink. Well, let me tell you a thing or two about a thing or two. We've been filming once, twice, 3 times, 4 times for the past 4, 5, 6 days a week.
14 hours.
14 hours, 12 years.
You know what's really
Let
funny
me
is now
tell-
that I can't see your blue hair, not only do you sound like Dana Carvey, but you kind of look like him.
Oh my
too.
god.
Then they're serious. They're really, really serious. Serious planning and scheduling. And then not some serious following.
Green, purple.
And then the skillful bottle tossing. And then the serious. Whoa, what is even.
Yellow, green.
Are you just listening to it?
Green.
Is he assaulting you right now?
Green, blue. I'm like fully like not paying attention right now because I just want to get this fucking color out of the way, so I'm sorry.
Boon Mike.
Blue.
Boon Mike. Oh goodness, look at those little cheeks.
Blue,
I just
purple.
want to squish them. Look at those ones. Just want to squish them.
Purple, red, purple.
They're talking about you in the other room.
Maybe I just name this one red violet because that just seems
No way. Okay, so we're
fucking
gonna
easier
go
to me.
on a little
Am I
quick
done with this?
tour.
Am I done with this? No, there's a whole other fucking section I need to do.
Okay, so this is the front door.
Oh, thank you for
You
going
know,
2 pages.
It opens. How low can you go?
Glue your fucking examples here. Actually, I can do this
Can you
in
give a
a.
fuck? Anyway, so before my tour was so brutally interrupted, here's the ground outside. It's got nights.
It's Pam. You can tell by the rings.
It's got butts, the night butts, and then we go this way, and this is the area that we call the party area. This party area, we call it the party area because it's got crazy cool party lights that go, ooh, yeah, party lights. Oh no, murder scene! Party, 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 party. That didn't make any sense. And then what's in here? Oh my gosh, it's a garage and it has a Hummer in it? Okay, that's new. I did not notice that that was there. And then back here, there's a restroom.
There's 2 more videos, so
There's
don't worry.
somebody
There's more
short-sighted
content that
been there for
that
a
I can
couple
add my
days
own
now.
little theories and
And then
things,
there's
as
a
I have been
theater.
here for way too fucking long.
Turn on the theater. Yeah, here's the theater. This is where we watched the Game of Thrones the other night. There's a bug on my glasses. You see that? Can you see the bug that just went? Yeah, landed on my glasses while I was giving this tour. Hey, uninvited. She's gone now. Huh. Anyway,
That is a
so
notification.
Yeah, there's a stage that.
Alright, so I have to do samples of a color looking different.
See here, let's see if I can set this up.
I'm just gonna fucking do that in Adobe.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm about to
Stop it, cancel.
for you.
Ow, fuck. Do not touch the butt.
Booty. Get it, Ethan, you're doing a great job.
Bam.
Doing great.
I know it'll take some getting used to, but there's no one who'd rather have alongside me with Now, I'll see you at the poker table soon.
Are you trying to give me a taste of my own medicine?
You like it? You like it?
I was made for this.
You like it?
Yes.
Oh God, you
Yes.
do. Look at this. You're
Give me
immune.
my,
New file. I'm just gonna do my original file.
Oh, I got you eating. It's really hard to be sassy when you've got a mouthful. Foodful, mouthful?
Yes.
Mouthful, foodful.
Food full of mouthful.
Wait, what's your weapon of choice? Wheat thins?
Wheat thins for now. Beggars can't be choosers.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you had to choose, what would be your snack?
Potato chips.
Just regular.
Just no, I need those Hawaiian sweet and spicy deals.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, they're good.
Also, there was an accident outside my dorm room again. Because we live right next to a road. And it was so funny because we were just laying in our beds and then we heard the crash and we both just went, did that really just happen?
Softer than I thought it was gonna be. Oh, that's gonna be so easy. Okay.
Yeah, so he does this scene where when you get shot and he just falls.
There's a really good angle right here.
Alright, so I am going to just create a square. And then I'm going to make a bigger one.
I'm sorry.
No, I'm a bad costume person for not bringing a tie.
I'm dark now.
Oh yeah.
Properties, fill. I'm just gonna do
No, it's not spooky.
I'm just gonna do that color.
That's horrifying.
This one.
Look at that interior design choice. Why?
Okay, no, okay, here's the thing.
Every time I take the BTS camera into this room, it doesn't do it. But I don't think that water damage was there when we got here. Water damage. No, you tell me that. You see that before? Damn it, stop it! I was doing it. No! Oh. He was so young!
I'm actually gonna do red for this one. And then,
He's my son.
I don't know, I think the gems did something
Oh.
good.
Oh, I like how it
Good?
Yes, take a look. They agree.
What's your observation of this?
Oh no, hold on.
It looks so fun. Absolute insanity. What's her name?
Leslie!
His. I thought it was a boy.
Flexible, beautiful.
She's seen better days.
Yeah, do you want to show him your crazy lady room? Ready? Dun dun dun!
My prize possession. I'm gonna be so sad now.
You're gonna miss something, and it's gonna be so well hidden that the next people miss it.
Oh, yeah, because I
And
have all
it's-
these. I have so many sticky notes in there, like encyclopedias.
You wanna read some good news for us?
Colonel. Do you have a favorite sticky? What makes Gatorade that color, and should we be putting it in our bodies? I like this guy.
Understandable.
But I have to do this part, so I have to turn it down. And then tape it, and I.
Amy, look at me real quick and think about that.
I don't want to talk about it. I had a bad night. I should leave a sticky note in one of these. Just murder. Where should we put it? 873. It's gone forever now. But now this doesn't say who did murder. I used to say who did murder.
The time?
You have pen.
Huh?
Is your quiz time?
Fuck no.
Nice.
She was like, here's an open note test that's in Word, and I was like, alright, bet.
It doesn't decide how long it takes to do that.
Nope, and it doesn't. It's not even on. It's on a Word document, so it's not
Alright,
gonna
I will
progress
not
if I
speak.
open
If
a
you
new
get
tab or leave
possessed,
the tab.
I'm fucking out of there.
Okay, let's get out of there. I didn't even know
Best
you
way
were
to do
there,
it.
Mick.
Don't even pretend to be possessed. Because I will fucking be outie.
But you have to do the ending.
Actually, I'm gonna switch this to a cool tone color because that's
Can I have someone's
there we go.
phone so I can use a flashlight if I need to get out? 100%.
That's a good day.
Don't actually look like a fly out.
There we go.
Tight. What a miracle. Truly.
I've been wounded.
Adobe, stop. Adobe! It did.
The man.
It does every.
Yeah.
No, I was editing a video last night, and the goddamn thing, like, crashed in the middle. It's like, we're gonna lose 5 minutes of this video, and I was like, I'm gonna scream. Oh shit! Here we go. The soft jazz music plays.
It's also really funny to me that my watch, like I can track my period cycle, so I just start.
I've never been much for smoking, but taking a bullet to the chest will make you a lot less worried about the slow deaths of the world. Long story short, I took a job I shouldn't have. They say the pretty ones will always get you killed, but he was so damn handsome I just couldn't resist. I was a frog in a slow pot of boiling water, or the first clown to get into the clown car. You don't know to get out until it's too late. One thing led to another, and I found myself slow dancing with the devil in the moonlight. Except instead of leaving room for Jesus, he left room for a .357 Magnum. I won't bore you with the details, so
I don't
I'll
even
cut
care if
right
this
to
is
the
correct.
quick.
I just.
A lot of people died because of this man. William J. Damn it. Come on. William J. Barnum, aka the Colonel.
There's.
Just like the clown at my bat mitzvah, I knew he was trouble from the moment I laid eyes on him. And just like Bozo the Magnificent, a lot of people died when he walked into my life. I've been chasing him down ever since. We were like two naked men running on the same treadmill, uncomfortably close, but always just a step behind. But no one can run forever, especially not with 200 pounds of sweaty detective breathing down your neck. It hasn't been easy, though. I can't count how many countries I've
What?
cornered him in.
The
Couldn't
fuck?
tell you how many times I've had him in my big, strong hands. Every time I think I've got him for good, he somehow manages to slip away. But he's running out of holes to hide in. I mean that literally, metaphorically, and euphemistically. It doesn't matter how crafty you think you are. If you've been on the run for years and years,
All right, perfect.
eventually, you're gonna make a mistake. Word of advice,
I'm just
if you're
gonna-
running away from your problems, never become too attached to anything. Family,
arrange, bring to the
lovers, briefcases on top of your car. Some things are best left behind.
Export.
The Colonel's a slippery one, shedding names as easily as a snake sheds a few pounds before bikini season. He's gone through pseudonym after pseudonym trying to cover his tracks, but he always manages to fall back into
Where
the
does that go?
same familiar roles. Drinking, fighting, flirting,
Alright, there's my example.
dancing.
Give an example of a culture outside that uses colors as a metaphor for belief system. Color purple has always been used as a symbol of. Color purple has always been used as a symbol of status and of
The
power.
Colonel
Mostly
was
used in
always
kings and
one for
queens
the
because the color was so
eccentrics,
rare
but his
to be
latest
created
persona
back then. It
takes
was
the
the most
entire
expensive color
cake
to be
shop.
created.
Wilford, mother-loving, wharf stash.
I fucking love this. Yeah, if you're wondering what he's been doing, he's been doing that. Very cool. I'm finished. I was about to be like, this is the most, like... That is, like, the one place you will find him. That one person in the background, just like, nah.
Get your ass down here. move, asshole! Show me your hands! I like that, put him down!
Not the
Get down on the
music.
ground! Get down on the ground right now! Well, why'd the music stop? Get your ass down on the ground! Do I know you? I said get down on... What? How do you not... Stop playing
There's
games.
another one
Get
behind.
your ass down on the ground before I blow you right here, right now! Away! Dave? Dave! Dave? Dave. Greg. Steve. You. Dave! I knew I recognized you. How are you? How's the wife? I don't have a wife. Stop stalling! You're under arrest for the murder of way too many people to even count. Well, that's just ridiculous. I would never do that.
I submitted this 16 hours. Alright, I did everything. I just have to do my research paper later. His mustache is progressively getting... Wait. Yeah, his mustache is getting progressively pinker. Yeah, just taser him. Why not?
Well, that I took hair ties out, you can't really tell that I took it out. So my hair is like, been like this all day. Probably just mistakes.
You ran a real good race there, buddy. It's the end of the road. The law's gonna throw every book they have, and after that, they're gonna throw you in a cell, and after that, they're gonna throw away the key, and after that, they're gonna throw that cell into a lake.
No, they're not.
But not before I throw a few things at him first. We're gonna play pin the tail on the donkey, but he's the donkey, and the tail is my feelings. But I shouldn't get ahead of myself. I only get one night with him to fill the hole in my heart he left behind. It's finally time to get some answers.
Did we date at some point?
No, we didn't date. The hole is a metaphor for when you shot me in the... Holy shit, that was close.
We could have taken them.
What the hell does that have to do with...
Why are you in my thoughts?
How did you... How are you?
Why are you in my
How many fingers am I holding up?
4.
Aardvark. Pumpernickel.
What are you doing?
Calabasas.
Are you okay?
How are you in my head?
Why are you shouting?
Get out of my head!
You're still shouting!
I love how he still has the fucking drink. Which is like the most...
Enough games!
Just
Your
the most,
ass
like...
is mine for the next 20
Just a casual yoink at the wig.
I'm gonna take my sweet time with that ass. To get answers out of
That is the second time you said something sexual to him.
Well, I suppose I could stay here a while. Get comfortable. Lovely place you got here. Could use a bit more color.
Enough with your bullshit. Do you have any remorse? Any remorse at all for the things you've done? Or are you too much of a coward
Actually,
to
when the
face
fuck is
your
this dude?
crimes?
Well, there's no need for name calling. Words can hurt, you know. You should be kind and courteous.
Name calling, huh? And, what name would you prefer, huh?
Why is everything due before fucking class?
Is it William J. Butterfield?
Well, now there's a name I have.
Wilson Jackson Bartholomew III.
Well, now I actually married in name.
Wingleheimer. Wait, just Wingleheimer?
Oh, they've been having a little bit of fun with that one.
Name after name after name after name, just so you can distance yourself from the real name you should be called. Murderer.
A moment of clarity.
Abe.
which hurts
It's been
so
years.
fucking
How are
much.
you? How are you doing? How's the family? Oh, I'm doing just peachy, buddy. Because I've been waiting.
I'm doing this peachy. Damien is currently being a demonic entity. Mark is just fucking over people's lives and going on dates. The district attorney is stuck in a mirror. We don't know what happened to the other fucking 3. He is somehow back from the dead, and you are just losing your mind.
Been a long, long time for this day to come. So we could sit down,
When was this? It was a year later.
have a chat, catch up.
Also, your district attorney keeps coming back to life in reincarnation. What the fuck?
There we all are. How the hell did you do that?
We look so young.
You better get your ass back in that chair. Also, how did you get your ass out of that chair?
He can teleport.
You're gonna tell me how you got your ass out of that chair so I can figure out a way to get it back in that chair.
Oh, there's Celine. My heart still beats for her to this day. But if she saw me, she'd probably carve mine out. How did you find all this?
I've always had them. I've been collecting them. Every single scrap of evidence this whole time so that one day I can bring you down.
That's so sweet.
It's not sweet, that's sickening.
Sickeningly sweet.
That's not what I meant.
Look, I am terribly, terribly sorry that I didn't remember you. Memories start to get jumbled after a while. Sometimes I forget even the simplest of things.
Oh, trust me. You'll have plenty of time to think about all the horrible things you've done once they throw you in a cage, then throw away the key, and then throw that... How the hell do you keep doing that?
Things get jumbled so easily. The when, the where, the why, the how of it all. Who can keep track of it? I wonder what he's up to. You see? Maybe I should stop.
I seriously need to get back in the chair. I've got more rope. Maybe that'll work.
I'm trying not to
Where's the
cry,
truck?
and I'm being so quiet.
The train. Oh, I remember the train. How long were we stuck in the snow for?
What?
Oh, you don't remember? Ah, it's okay. Probably hasn't happened yet.
What?
But some of your finest work, I have to say. A little spoiler alert for later to make it easier on you. We all did it.
I don't understand.
No, no. The grown-ups are talking.
The fuck?
What the hell's going on?
Huh? I don't really know. Honestly, I don't understand anything anymore. But I do remember you. I remember that there's something I've been meaning to give you after all these years.
Hmm.
I'm sorry.
Oh fuck. That would have been cry.
If there's one thing I've learned after all these years, it's that nothing heals like a good apology.
Understand?
There's a FNAF video I need to find.
Exactly.
There's a FNAF
None of
video
this
I need to
makes
find
any
for this.
sense. That's the beauty of it.
Beauty. What about any of this is beautiful to you? What kind of sick, twisted son of a bitch thinks any of this is sick?
God damn it, I do the same shit. He has a necklace tied around as a bracelet, and I do the same shit.
Twisted son of a bitch.
It's because mine is
thinks
a.
any of this is beautiful.
Now, what did we say about name calls?
You killed people. So many people. You killed my friends. You killed my partner. You shot me.
Now, it seems to me like you're trying to paint me as.
Okay, no, he
You
survived.
are the bad guy.
Okay, whoa, hey, whoa, time out, time out, time out. Shoot. Oh, whoa, hey, ooh, ah, hey.
Also, if you want to go read theories, go on Tumblr. Those shits will make you want to stop.
For years and years and years, you've been chasing me all around the world. From bedrooms to bathrooms to ballrooms. You've been chasing me, and you've been doing a real bang-up job of it. But, and forgive me if this sounds insulting in any way, what would you say our closest encounter was before this very moment right here?
When was our closest encounter?
Yeah.
Before this very moment.
Oh, my foot's asleep and it's like slid off
That's
my.
easy. It was when it was when you
That's when you. I was hunting you down. I was stalking you. But you fled the country to, All right. Yeah, you were off the radar for 3 years, but I got a hot tip.
So
You
it's been
shacked up
3
in,
years.
You shacked up with.
With 3 years. What year was that exactly?
What year?
This hurts because that means it's taking a toll on everyone who was at that manor. Because Dark is like in his own. Dark is in like his own little entity pocket. Mark's doing his own thing. The district attorney is probably reincarnated by now, because that's what I fully believe. I don't think Mark would be that fucked up to keep them trapped in a mirror.
I've obsessed over this case for years. Every moment of every day.
There's fucking one video I need to remember, but it's like an interview and he like apologizes to us.
Why can't I remember? Am I crazy?
No. My friend, you are not crazy. Don't let anyone ever tell you that you're crazy.
Why the fuck does he give such good advice?
You're just too focused on the minutiae of it. The details, the who killed who, the who slept with who. You're not focusing on the big picture.
It's impossible to know things that haven't happened yet.
Yes, exactly. Just like it's impossible to survive a bullet through the heart.
No! Fuck! I was like, why is the piano?
This was all a nightmare that I couldn't wake up from. My heart was pounding Morse code in my ears, but I never learned the language. My mind was like a hamster ball rolling down the freeway. No matter how fast I went, I couldn't keep up with the flow. It was my first year of clown college all over again, and I...
No. No drifting off just yet. Listen.
He's still
It was a bit of a shock for me, too. Life needed a bit of madness, but why should death be any different? But I think the stress is getting to you a little bit. You need to unwind. You're a freshly born fawn trying to find your legs in a world that doesn't make sense. So just for tonight, let's forget about all the chasing and the killing and the shooty, bang, bang. God, you're a murderer. Just for tonight, why don't we have a little fun?
Oh my god, everyone's wearing the mask and it's so fucking creepy. I hate it. I'm assuming after this Abe fucking dies. I'm running through the comments. Written, directed, and edited by this asshole. Yeah. Yeah, Wilfred glitches when he remembers himself as the Colonel. Oh shit. Yeah, he doesn't realize he's done wrong and it's just insane and broken. Just completely breaks my heart. Yeah, Abe's daddy never survived. He's in a dream. He's only doing what he's supposed to do and he doesn't know anything else. Yeah, coming back to this after watching the animated Will videos hits really hard. He remembers that the incident broke him so bad he's completely lost himself. A mustache turning pink is a good resemblance of how he's losing his mind. But the original memories are still there, showing in the... I didn't know the gun was loaded, I'm sorry. I'm watching that one next. Well, no, we're watching... Because I have... Alright. I actually remember watching this. I was at work in my pool, because I worked as a lifeguard for 2 years. As I think it's been like fucking mentioned too many goddamn times. But this one has one of my favorite lines that I have written in stories constantly. And this is also where it's finally canon that they're siblings. That is so fucking loud. This is also fucking drawn so well. Oh, hello, ambulance. Why did I say that so differently? My brain did not register. I said ambulance differently. Also, you can tell how long it's been because the amount of trees that have been cut down. It's us. So I always thought that the house represented us. Like, the person whose body they took. Because it makes the most sense that the house that they're staying in is like the reader's personal like body. Why the fuck am I getting an email? Whatever. I have like a couple minutes before I have to go get my laundry. And I really don't want to miss the ending of this because this is one of my favorite endings. But I always believe that whoever is in control or whoever is like asleep during this body can like go in and out of the house. Like this figure out of the horror. This explains a lot. There she is. Now they look more like siblings.
Don't slam the door, Damien.
If I want to slam the damn door, I'll slam.
This is just fucking drawn so
I
well.
saw a flower today. Shouldn't be long now before spring.
The flower
Or
I'm saying
there's still a
is
few more weeks
Will
of
Ford.
winter left, and that flower will die, cold and alone.
Or that. Either way, winter can't last forever, Celine. With any luck, we'll be able to get out of this cabin soon.
Luck doesn't keep the fire going. Luck won't change the weather. And luck definitely won't put food on the table.
Well, I mean, if you think about it, you probably do need some luck in finding something to eat in the middle of winter out in the snow. Good luck.
Whatever. Try not to burn the cabin down while I'm out.
She's not hunting animals, she's hunting down Mark. I'm gonna add that in. She's not hunting
Did
prey.
you see a flower?
Yes. A little pink one.
It's our colonel.
Silly thing. Probably dead by now.
You don't die.
Get some sleep. You look tired.
Yeah, so in this moment, Celine is in control.
You're starting to sound like Mom. I'm not that tired.
Yeah. So Celine is in the most control. She's the one who's in control of our body.
Okay, maybe I am tired.
Oh god, this is 21 minutes? I do not remember that being that long. This motherfucker went to sleep with shoes on? What the fuck? Okay, I can't judge. I've done that a couple times. Hello? Now you know why I say the flower's the colonel, because he's a little pinky.
Huh. Well, you don't die easily,
do you? It's such a good ass line.
Well, why the music stop?
Hello?
Yeah, there's the...
You killed people!
I fucking didn't realize those videos were back to back.
So many people!
Yeah, that's...
Who's there?
That's Abe's voice from the previous video.
Hello?
Don't slam the door, Damien.
Yeah, okay, yeah, sure.
Is this just a groundhog situation where days are repeating?
I saw a flower today. Shouldn't be long now before
Yep.
spring.
Celine's...
Or there's still a few more weeks of winter left and that flower will die. Hold on. What are you muttering about?
I heard...
Yeah, I was about to say Celine's thing is breaking.
What?
I heard a voice. As clear as I'm hearing you.
There's no one else in these woods, Damien.
How would she
But it
know
sounded
that?
far away. I should have followed the voice, but it trailed off. And I had to get back with firewood. But we have plenty of firewood.
Damien, there is no one else in these woods. If there were, I'm sure I would have run into them by now.
I'm sure you would have run into them by now.
You're not getting enough sleep. You need to sleep. Are you staying up while I'm out?
What? No, I'm fine. I'm not even tired. What about you? Are you tired? You're always awake by the time I get back.
I'm not a growing boy like you, little brother.
Oh, please. You're older by 10 minutes.
Which is just long enough for me to be in charge, so shut up and go to bed.
Yeah, this
That doesn't
also...
make you in
This adds to the
charge. How
fact
does
that
it
they're
make you the
twins,
boss
which
of
I completely fucking...
Just be careful.
I forgot they're fucking twins.
I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy, but whatever I heard out in those woods, it didn't sound too friendly.
Well, because one of them is pissed off another figure who shot someone else whose body you are currently inhabiting.
I can take care of myself.
Don't slam the door. You always need to be right. Sometimes I'm right. Sometimes I know things.
Glass is cracking.
Well, that's weird. What the hell?
Someone's getting close.
Wasn't there before.
Someone knows where we are.
How did I not notice this?
Because you have been asleep.
Why can't I see myself? What the hell is that? You aren't quite feeling like yourself, are you?
Welcome to what Mark's body looks like. This is what he looks like, because it goes along the back. The light's still there. Gotcha.
What? This doesn't make sense. Am I dreaming? Celine, is that you?
People are gifting subs in Nick's chat. I want to see how many subs are just 25. Holy shit.
Celine! 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 Where are you? Where are you? Can you hear me?
Yeah, this is Celine, I think, losing control and probably losing a fight to Mark.
Celine?
She's in the...
Celine? I've never seen this light before.
That's because someone else is in here. It's the same as the,
Celine! Celine! Hold on!
It's the same as the window.
I'm almost there. Hold on. Just a little bit longer. Just a little bit longer, Celine. Can you hear me? Celine! Celine! Just hold on. I'm almost there. Hold on! Hold on!
That's not. That's Mark. The flower. Alright, I have a minute. I will wait until my goddamn alarm goes off.
Mark's not the only one that can use this place to his benefit.
No. Don't let anyone ever
Damien, you are hard.
No, I'm getting my laundry. I'm listening to this whole shit. You guys get silence and my roommate's music from the bathroom. Actually, shit, I have 4 minutes. Hold up. Who the fuck are- why are you on my Snapchat? I don't know. How did you find me? Ignore. Someone who I don't talk to, they like just popped up. Or someone who like searched me. And I don't trust that. Alright.
Hard man to find. What?
Oh fuck, they're ringing in my
Who
ears.
are you?
Causing my ears to ring.
Where's Celine? Now there's a hard woman to avoid. If you did anything to her, I will. Easy there, cowboy. I've done nothing to her. I don't even think I could. That woman would carve my heart out and feed it to me if she even saw me. What?
Exactly.
Then why am I here? What do you want from me? Oh, Damien. Oh, my poor sweet Damien. I've come to apologize.
Bullshit.
Do I know you? Of course you know me.
It shows.
Dare I say you probably know me as well as you know yourself.
It's showing that the like the time progression
Bad
is
joke.
fucked.
Couldn't help myself.
Fuck you.
I know you. Oh,
Now you know
come on,
why I want to
Damien.
say I want to hit
Celine really did a
actor.
number on you, didn't she? Mark? And circle takes the square. Took you a while.
That is a very old
But this
game show
doesn't make
reference.
any
There's
sense.
nothing
We were
else
just at
to
your
it.
party, and then we were, and then you, and Celine. Whoa there, easy boy. I'm gonna stop you right there because I just
I
don't
have the same
time
exact.
for the
I'm
whole
just now
catching
looking at the same
up.
exact
No, you
haircut as
need to
fucking
answer.
Damien. I hate it
How did
now.
I get here? Where even am I? Whoa, hold on. Okay, all right.
God
I'll
damn it!
just
Sure,
summarize.
give me gender envy.
And it's best summarized by saying that mistakes were made. Plans weren't exactly
Oh, there's
properly
the
executed.
body in the background.
The right people started pointing fingers at the wrong people, and a good night with some good friends may have taken a wrong turn at some point. And okay, I may have made a deal to possibly make sure that a certain lady couldn't go around breaking anyone else's heart ever again. But that was doing everyone a favor. But that's all in the past.
Yeah.
What matters now is moving forward. And oh, how beautiful the future is gonna be with you. You murderer. Oh, please. You sound like that idiot detective. Come on, you're better than that. I don't need to hold your hand through all this. Through all of what? Just leave me alone. You don't realize. This place is a dream. A never-ending starring role as the hero. But what is
I know
a hero
exactly.
without?
That's what I said last night.
A villain. Every good story needs a villain. You honestly think that you're the hero in all of this? Well, of course I am. Who else could I possibly be?
How do I know that line so well? I use that TikTok audio so fucking much.
My humble upbringing, my tragic backstory.
Now you know why I kept saying...
There's no other role for me to play. You're out of your mind. Oh, and you. You are going to make the perfect villain in my story. Uh-huh. Yeah, sure, that makes sense. Well, you can tell your story all you want to the other prisoners. Oh, come on, Damien, let it go. Always the righteous crusader. Pure as a driven snow.
The other prisoners are William and us.
No, acting like you're the only one without blood on your hands. You stole everything from me. Well, you wouldn't even have anything in the first place if it wasn't for me. You took our lives. You betrayed me. You betrayed William. You even betrayed Celine. Well, maybe if Celine hadn't run off, then we wouldn't be here right now. You were never good enough for Celine. I gave up everything for her.
Proves that Mark is not.
But that's all in the past. And now, I'm here.
Oh my god, this reminds me of my actual character that I wrote. This is oh my god. I was like, why does this feel so familiar to me? This is, okay, so actor Mark.
I don't
So who is actor Mark and who killed
to-
Markiplier? Who killed Mark? Oh, buddy, you missed that entire, section. But he is the corpse. So this is basically after that entire thing has happened. This is happening inside of, like, the subconscious of Damien and Celine after they have taken our body. Perfect timing. My laundry's done. I will be back. I will come back and explain everything. Because the people on this floor love to bitch. I also just burnt my wrist. I am done. It was 2 a.m. when I watched part 1. Gotcha. So, brief summary of, like, who killed Markiplier. Actor Mark invited Damien, the Colonel, William, or Wilfred Werstash. I'm back, by the way. And then a detective who he was friends with, and then there's a butler and a cook that were just in the building present. So he faked The body that he was using finally died, and he was presented to the entire, like, people that were at the party. People started investigating it. People were being like, well, what's happened? Why is he dead? It was revealed that he was stabbed 37 times. He was poisoned, bludgeoned, and shot, all within the span of the same hours. That it was just what happened to their bodies beforehand. Then Celine, who is Damien's twin sister, as it was just been revealed, came in and was basically like revealing that there was more of like that there was more darker elements at play. We went to the gardener, talked to him, and that is when Damien and Celine were both killed, and Mark hopped into Damien's body. The Colonel, William, lost his mind. He shot Abe, which killed him, but he is kind of stuck in like a purgatory type thing where he keeps running into William. William possesses some type of powers to teleport, and he is slowly losing his mind. And in the process, he shoots us, which we go into the element where we see Mark's body, and we run into Damien and Celine, where we basically get an ultimatum from Celine being like, we can get out of here with your body. We agreed to the deal, we got out of the body, we run to William, who is now like point break just broken inside. And as we are going to the mirror to pick up the cane, we are thrown out of our own body and we are trapped in the mirror. That is basically what you missed.
Do with your future.
So this is happening right before we are thrown out of our body, and this is like a conversation where Celine is in control of the body and she's been hunting down Mark.
Just go drop dead and let me live my life in peace.
Best fucking insult to give to someone. That is a terrifying ass image.
Live your life in peace.
Okay, I put understand about 10%.
Oh,
You
my
can
friend.
put in Seal's term.
What has she?
Mark faked his death. Everyone goes crazy. So, sibling comes to investigate, has magical elemental properties of magic. Twins die. Mark steals one of the twins' body. A friend of twins goes insane, shoots someone, shoots us. Body gets possessed by the twins. There we go. It's hard to explain.
No matter. What has she kept from you?
And this is what Mark's body looks like, in the sense of, this is what his original body looks like when he's not hopping bodies.
No matter what tricks Celine tries.
Okay, now I get it. Yeah.
What's happening? There's no ending for the likes of us. Not anymore. What have you done? Oh, friend. Like I said.
I think this is the part where Mark is almost getting control of our body.
I've done nothing. But in this place,
I never noticed he whispers.
I'm gonna make something beautiful. I can't. Damien. I can't. It's time to wake up.
Yeah, because he isolated the twins.
Ah.
Gotcha, bitch! So that's the original Mark. The decaying body, yes, is the original Mark. There she is! There's the seer.
Ah, Celine.
And yet-
So good.
That has a- Oh! A Mark that hasn't died. That hasn't died. That is like the original Mark body.
I have no idea what just happened.
Are you all right?
No, I'm not all right. I've never been less all right. You need to explain to me what the hell is going on.
There's no time to explain.
Why does everyone keep telling me that? I spent God knows how long chopping down trees with nothing but time on my side, and suddenly now there's no time. I'm so sick.
By the way, these are the
of being a
twins.
pawn in other people's
Celine, who was the
games.
seer, and Mark, who was the
Just
mayor.
give me a
Or
straight
Damien, that was the
answer.
mayor.
For once.
You want a straight answer. You're in someone else's body who you were given control to, and your sister has been in the most control as of the recent period of time. That's all you need to know.
Celine. Am I?
So what happens to the black suit, Mark? This is the black suit mark. This is the mayor. This is Damien. He is the one that was killed and is in our body currently. Where the fuck is my phone? Fuck!
No.
The ice is cracking because the body is injured because I guarantee Celine and Mark fought.
I'm so tired. Everything I've done to protect you. But I was too late. Too sloppy.
Okay, this shit
He's
gets
undone
confusing.
everything.
I know it does. But that is why Tumblr is good for. I guarantee I can go down my Tumblr and just find the fucking explanations.
No.
Also, Mark has an entire explanation video that's 11 hours long, so if you want to go watch that, be my guest. I'm watching that when I do my sleep, or when I do my week
He
stream.
hasn't won yet.
Celine, you can't keep this up.
Shut up! You have no idea what I'm capable of.
Let me help you!
No! Not this music!
I remember now.
Oh fuck, he remembers.
I remember what he did. What we did.
Damien, you have no idea what's really going on here.
You're right.
This
haven't
fucking
got
music
the
hurts!
But I know that even you can't protect me forever.
It's not just about protecting you. Everything's different now. The mistakes I've made, the people I've used, the things I've had to do to keep you alive.
Celine.
So Mare and Crazy
Some
Bitch are in
things
body is
just can't
living in
be
Crazy Bitch.
fixed.
Yes, because when... Oh, but my kitties. Sorry, I'm texting my mother. Yes, but also they can like change the appearance of the body. Oh, okay. Okay, I have to be finished in like 5 minutes because I want to see my cats. So Mare and Crazy Bitch are in body. Mark, yes. Basically, best explanation. Also, Selena's not a crazy bitch. She's a seer, and we love her. Even though she's a little bit crazy.
But if you let me help you, then maybe together we can start to set things right. You look tired.
Cat pog.
I think you need to get some sleep.
Yeah, I'm trying to set up a channel so I can post pictures of my cats and just have it be like the
Don't
sushi
worry.
cults, because mostly I get sushi pictures.
I'll protect you.
Ah!
You can't come back from this. It'll change you. Forever.
So this is
Well,
Damien taking
he
control.
did say he wanted me to be the villain. Maybe he should be more careful with his wishes.
Just promise me one thing. Make sure that bastard stays dead.
Gotcha. So yeah. Celine is now going to sleep inside the body. Damien is now just taking control primarily of our body. So which is why it has this imagery of like she's so tired. It is because ever since the body merged, she's been protecting the body and Damien and just hunting down Mark. So now Damien is taking control of, and now welcome to Dark. And I've said this once, and I fully believe this. This house is like the figurative of us in like this situation of this video. This is us. We are the house that is like metaphorically keeping them inside. Also, welcome to spring. Also, yeah, look at how many trees this man has cut down. Yeah. Then if I remember correctly, there is a... Yep, there it is. Ah! That scared the shit out of me. I forgot about the static. Yep, there he is. There's the myth, the man, the legend. Yep, there he is. There he is. You also might have noticed that there was a flash of yellow. Yeah, that's us. 'Cause I said that this is the moment right before we are thrown out of the mirror. Yeah. Okay, so who is Time Loop Mark and what is the story flag? The actor has the ability, I think, to like manipulate stories into his own making. So he has like the ability of like his own like narration, which is why you have like Date and Heist, which we will be doing later this week, but I do need to catch up on Convention Story. So probably Friday we'll do a Date, and then possibly if we have time, because that's really short, we'll do a little bit of Heist. But yeah, that is the end of this thing. God damn, this took 2 hours. Yeah, this is just the basic story of like, here's all the characters. This is how they are relating to this character. And this is who they are in the story. After the events of Who Killed Markiplier, yeah. Yep, here it is. Yeah. I would like to say a huge thank to Marvel for teaching me to stay after the credits no matter what. What about Wug? I think he was just an alien created. Bless you. I've just been getting gifted subs all day today. Okay. Holy shit, V's alive. Fuck who I was gonna go raid. Let's go bully this man. It's been too long. V, it has been too long since I've bullied this man. Alright. The Pogmelon. The Pogmelon. I can't get into Minecraft because my account is not registered under my email. So, yeah. You might see me tomorrow. I don't know. We'll see how much this class mentally kills me. Yeah. Bye-bye.
Back in school.